Here we have a SAT math question. Okay, let's go with the information. There is a graph given over here. Which of the following could be the function g as shown above? Okay, here we have the graph of the function g of x, and among the answer choices, we have to find the function g of x. Okay, to find the function g of x from the given graph, first I have to look at the x-intercepts over here. So here we have 0, then the value over here has to be -1, the value on the x-axis over here has to be -2, and here it's +2. So the graph intersects x-axis at 3 places. One is here, the second one is here, the third one is here. Okay, so here the graph, here the graph intersects x-axis at -2. So that is, let's write x equals to -2. Okay, here the graph intersects x-axis at x is equal to 0, and here it x equals to 2. So there are 3 x-intercepts. Okay, to make the right side 0 over here, I just have to add 2 to both sides. When I add 2 to both sides, this negative positive will cancel. I'm getting x positive 2 equals to 0. So this is a factor corresponding to the x-intercept over here. And here I don't have to make the right side 0 because already it's 0. So the factor corresponding to this x-intercept is just x. And now to make the right side 0 here, I just have to subtract 2 from both sides. Then positive to negative will cancel. I'm getting x -2 equals to 0. So whenever I want to find the factor corresponding to the x-intercept, I have to make the right side 0 here. So now the factor corresponding to this x-intercept is x -2. So now I got 3 factors for the 3 x-intercepts. The first one is x positive 2, and the second one is just x, and the third one is x -2. Okay, so now let's look at the first x-intercept, that is -2. So the factor corresponding to this -2 is x positive 2. At this x-intercept, the graph crosses the x-axis. At a particular x-intercept, if the graph crosses the x-axis, then the corresponding factor will have odd exponent. Since the graph crosses at x equals to -2, so the corresponding factor x positive 2 will have odd exponent. Okay, now let's consider the second x-intercept, that is x equals to 0. At this x-intercept, the graph does not cross x-axis, it just touches x-axis. At a particular x-intercept, if the graph touches x-axis and does not cross x-axis, then we have to take even exponent for the corresponding factor. So for this x-intercept, the corresponding factor is x. Since this x-intercept, since the graph is just touching the x-axis, then the corresponding factor x will have even exponent. Let me write over here. And now let's consider the third x-intercept, that is 2. At this x-intercept, clearly the graph is crossing x-axis. So the factor corresponding to this x-intercept will have odd exponent again. So odd. Okay, now among the answer choices, we just have to pick the one where we have odd exponent for this x for the factor x positive 2, and even exponent for the factor x, and odd exponent for the factor x -2. So when I go over the answer choices, clearly option C is correct, because so when I consider the function g of x in answer choice C, so the factor x is having 2, that is even exponents. So it satisfies the first condition. And now let's consider the factor x positive 2. We don't have any exponent, so we have to assume there is exponent 1. So this factor is having odd exponent, it satisfies this one. Now let's consider this factor x -2. So for this one also we don't have any exponent, so I can assume there is 1. So it is an odd exponent. This one satisfies this. So the correct answer choice for this question is option C.